All right, welcome back to Off the Hook Sports with Amanda and Dave. We have Roman Harper here, who actually went to Alabama, so I'm really excited. I know it's terrible. So I know you played at the Saints. You played for Alabama, obviously. What do you feel like is the difference? I know there's a lot of differences between the NFL and college football, but what do you feel is like the main difference for all of those kids going out that are wanting to go to the NFL?
For me, playing in the SEC and you're playing against really great athletes. That's what LSU was kicking at a high level. Tennessee was great, and just seeing all these great players that I went against on every Saturday. The biggest difference was the offensive line and the defensive line. How big they were, but not how big. Also, how big they were, but how fast they were. So the movement of the offensive and defensive line was the biggest shock for me. Everybody else was like similar in size, speed. I played up against really fast guys, high draft picks of offense and defense. But when it came to offense defense line, it was a total different game with how fast they were, how smart they were. And also, it's a grown man game.
Right.
You got 32, 30-year-olds, 34-year-old men, like, not just like, nobody's going to class. Like, I'm fine with my kids. I got 3 kids and a wife at home. So, kind of adjusting to that when I was 22, 23, it was like, I mean, you got like a wife. You got kids? Like,
yeah.
Some of your kids are like 12, 13, almost like closer to my age than I am with you.
Yes.
So those are the things that you have to deal with. It's just a different maturity factor. And once you get that part of it, man, the game starts to just slow down when you play. And by the time I was done and getting ready to retire, the game was so slow. And that's why I really enjoy watching college football now, because as I take it all in and just watch it, just digest it, it's slow, it's really kind of methodical, but they really try to beat you in other factors offensively in college football.
So I know I was actually at Alabama in 2005. So I was there while you were there.
Yeah.
You were drafted in 2006, correct?
Correct.
And that is, of course, the year before Saban got there.
Correct.
So how do you feel gypped a little bit?
No, because at the end of the day, I still balled, and my journey is going to be my journey.
Yeah.
And I also enjoy the fact that Nick was not there, because these guys are like machines.
Yes.
Like, they don't get to have fun. When I was there, I kind of went to class. Not everybody needs to do that, but I had a good time. I really enjoyed my campus experience at University of Alabama. So for me, that was the best part about it, that I had a really good football career, but also had a campus life. I also got to do other things on campus. I got to hang out. I got to meet different people from different walks of life and do those things. But now, I mean, you got to love football. I tell people that all the time. If you want to go play for Nick Saban in Alabama, you better love football. That's going to be your life.
Right.
You're going to go to class, and you're going to go play football. In that order, too. And if you're doing wrong, one of those wrong, you're not going to make it. So it's really tough. But it actually helps mature guys. So when they get ready to go to the NFL, on to the next level, whatever that chapter is in life, discipline will not be an issue for them.
No, absolutely. So talking about college, and of course, I'm sure you've gotten this question a billion times, but the NIL, it's obviously a thing now, and it wasn't a thing back then, especially when you were playing. So what do you think the pros are, and what are the cons? And if you could change it, what would you do differently?
So the pros are, young people are taking advantage of a situation where they actually have the ability to make money. For a long time, you could not make money unless it was underneath the table in college football or any college space. So now you're able to afford, like, helping your parents out. You afford a different type of lifestyle. You're not just struggling for a meal, or you can buy your own car. You can do some different things. So I think you're afforded an ability where a lot of college kids, they have money through their parents.
Right.
Those athletes don't have money because their parents don't have money. Right. So those are that's one thing that I think is a huge positive. Also, closing the wealth gap. You're talking about some kids, if they can make 6 to 7 figures, that's more money than their parents are making in years of salaries. So being able to close that wealth gap and actually help that, some family things, kind of some debt issues, because that is how you grow wealth in America. Really, the way to make money is have money.
Right.
You got to have money to make more money, to be able to do certain things and be around certain people that are also making money, or you don't know the questions to ask or the people to be around. So I think that is one thing. It helps close the wealth gap a little bit, and it allows kids to actually learn to fail. I think
Once you lose a little money, you make a little money, you lose money, or you make some mistakes with money, you become better with money. So doing that earlier, I took an entrepreneurial business class, and they said one thing about most entrepreneurs that shows their success rate is that the failure. It's not about white, black, Asian, how many times you, how what school you went to. It's like, no, how many times did you fail? Most people that fail early usually do better earlier. They got to learn how to fail, so then you learn from those mistakes and you don't repeat those mistakes. And eventually, you get better, and you next you know you make it big. So that's one of those things I think is really good. And athletes naturally know how to not repeat mistakes, so you don't play long. That's what they want to do. You can't be a repeat offender. So those are the things that are positive. Negative, I mean, what 20-year-old is going to be great with $1 million, right? Like that. Those are the negatives. And also, the biggest negative for me was it wasn't intended to pay for play. It wasn't intended for schools and universities to say, all right, we're going to pay our X amount of dollars and just go buy this player. It was supposed to be for now players that have the ability to make money off their own name, image, and likeness. Where if I want to sell T-shirts, or if I want to do a interview or a spot thing that people can pay me, I can make money. If I want to sell my own jersey, or if I want to do a football camp or a volleyball camp, I can do that and make money as a college athlete. That was what it was intended for. It's totally gone the opposite way, but that's totally the NCAA's fault, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And when the Ed O'Bannon deal broke 10, 12 years ago, they had a chance and an opportunity to change, but they chose not to. And because they did not evolve, Pandora's box has been open and you don't get to go back. So now I'm in the opinion of like the Joker. I just told somebody this, like the Joker, that, some people just like to watch the world burn.
Yes.
And just like, well, the whole system's burning down and it's on fire, and I'm just sitting back watching it because I was in it on the other side of it. And when I saw them not change and not evolve when they had the opportunity to, well, you get what you deserve. And eventually the market's going to set itself. Somebody's going to pay too much for a player, and they're like, you know what, that player stunk, and that was not worth my money. Because this money is coming from great business minds and business owners and really rich people. They don't make a lot of bad business decisions, or they wouldn't be in the position they're in. So once they realize that, all right, that was a bad business, I'm not doing that again, and the market will eventually set itself. So me sitting on the outside watching it all burn, in the 4 or 5 years, I think it'll be fine.
Okay, just one last thing before you
Okay.
go. The Alabama-Tennessee rivalry is huge. We all know it's huge. But the whole mega conference thing and all of that could do away with it. How bad would that be for college football?
Well, it would stink because, it's still the third Saturday in October. And I think they have to get that part of it right. Break up some other teams, other rivalries that don't have to mix, especially like Alabama and Auburn, Georgia, Florida, Auburn, Georgia. It's certain things that must go. Because I think the Georgia Auburn's been playing longer than anybody else. It's one of the longest storied rivalries. So these are the things that must change and must continue to go. That's what I want to see continue to happen. But we're going to see. Before it happens, I don't want to say what won't happen or what it's going to change. We'll continue to evolve. You must be fluid in this college space in today's time. We were just talking about a year ago today, NIL was just coming up. And now we're talking about super conferences. And I mean, just 3 years ago, I was like, targeting needed to change. Targeting was a big thing. Now we're not even talking about targeting, and it still hasn't changed. So these are the things that you must be fluid, and it's ever evolving right now, and we just got to be ready for these things, and it's got to continue to go. But I'm looking forward to it. That Tennessee game this year is the scariest game on Alabama's. I think they're going to do with Texas A&M, but that following week at Neyland Stadium, it's going to be a rough one, especially with this much improved Tennessee team.
Yeah, I'm nervous about that too.
I would be.
Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Amanda.
Harper, everybody, and we're Off the Sports.